Truth-telling is the bedrock of good journalism. Straight from the heart on Sky 107.1 is that platform you can rely on for credible, undiluted, and unbiased analysis. It is thought-provoking. It speaks nothing but the truth to whoever is involved. Our presenters remain impartial and are only interested in truth-telling. The program comes your way Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 o'clock in the morning. Let's speak from our hearts, heal our wounds, and build Mama Liberia for good.
Wake up, Mama Liberia. Liberia, oh Liberia, oh Liberia, wake up. Liberia, oh Liberia, oh Liberia, wake up. Liberia, oh Liberia, oh Liberia, wake up. In a pray. Wake up and do something. Try to settle things the way we need to be. It's all we need in our love and control. Mama, I love you. Wake up, my people.
Good morning and a pleasant work edition of the program straight from the heart on Sky 107.1. Today's Monday and it's the 5th day of July 2021. My name is Matthias Labindi, and this morning is just a day after the independence, the observance of America's independence, that the 4th of July. This morning, our conversation will center around, by the way, the War Crimes Court, the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court in Liberia. And we've invited Councillor Jerome Verdier over the weekend. That Thursday, we had in the studio the Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Sema Serena. In his session, one thing he said that sparked some reaction from some of the viewers and think that the War Crimes Court cannot come to Liberia because of the jurisdiction. The ICC does not have a jurisdiction to be established, except some things are observed which he named. And we're going to be speaking with Jerome Verdier to give us more information why it's important for the War Crimes Court to be established after many years since the end of the Civil War. We'll be right back after this break.
Wake up, Mama Liberia. Wake up, Mama Liberia. Wake up, Mama Liberia. Wake up, Mama Liberia. Liberia, oh Liberia, oh Liberia, wake up. Liberia, oh Liberia, oh Liberia, wake up. Liberia, oh Liberia, wake up. In a pray. Oh, Liberia, wake up, oh, do something. Oh, Liberia, try to settle things the way we need to be. It's all we need in our love and control. Mama, I love you. Wake up, my people. Can't you hear the song?
And that's why unity is what every one of us, time we wake up in the morning, we think about how God can give us a peace of mind to ensure that we continue to do the right things that we always do for this great country, Liberia. So this morning, usually we highlight a number of issues, different talking points, and open the lines during the first segment of the program before getting to 8 o'clock and usher in our guest and talk about the issues affecting us in the country. But this morning is going to be a different presentation. Our guest is Councillor Jerome Verdier. Councillor Jerome Verdier joins us at 7:30, hopefully, at which time we're going to be delving deep into the conversation surrounding the establishment of War Crimes Court. The councillor, along with several others, 2 other Liberians, appeared at the conference, organized by the Tom Latos Human Rights Commission. So there's been a series of reactions from individuals, both home and abroad, include Liberians particularly, about the trustworthiness of the witnesses that appeared at the Tom Latos Human Rights Commission. Councillor Jerome Verdier, who headed the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Liberia, is among those that also attended a particular conference. He gave his own accession. He made his own remarks there. After some days, we saw that the Liberian Senate came up with something they consider as recommendations. All right, came up with recommendations to the president. And by the way, since September 2020, the president of Liberia wrote the Liberian Senate, requested that body to ensure that it provides him some advice on how to go about handling the issue of the War Crimes Code. It's been long. The debate took another trend from different angles, from different individuals about the War Crimes Code and so on. So the Senate then came up with some recommendations, requesting that the entire Truth and Reconciliation Commission report be read, because before you analyze something, you must read it properly from start to end again. So the Truth and Reconciliation Commission be analyzed, and a transitional justice commission be set up to ensure that the various cases or width of atrocities can be differentiated. If you listen to the Solicitor General as well, that there are some cases who are a little bit, they're not that heavy, they're not that weighty as compared to those who encounter a number of heinous, treatment during the Civil War. So their recommendations to the president are that, well, let's investigate this whole thing. Let's look at this Truth and Reconciliation Commission again, from start to the end. Let's analyze it. But in so doing, we need to set up a transitional justice committee, a commission, to ensure that we get rid of, handle some of these things. Councillor Sima Cephas was also invited at the Liberian Senate. He provided and he supported the senator for suggesting that the Transitional Justice Commission be set up. He appeared here on Nothing to Hide. He further expand on, the things that he spoke about in the Liberian Senate. So we thought to also reach out to someone who attended. In fact, the Liberia's ambassador to the US, Ambassador George Patton, is quoted in a newspaper, Front Page Africa newspaper particularly, that most of the witnesses could be pay agents, could be probability. Well, he didn't come definitively to speak clearly that these are Councillor Verdier and other people are pay agents, but he said most of them could be pay agents. So I'm going to giving you some basic comments made by other people. So the CPP lawmakers, some of them disagree, like Senators Nyombele Kanga Lawrence and Senator Darius DeLong. They took a different position, that they support the War Crimes Code and so on, maybe several other senators as well. So it tells you that the nation, the people of this country, citizens, are not divided on the issue of the War Crimes Code. I asked someone earlier, to tell me that particular thing that binds us together as Liberians. So as we're talking about some Liberians thinking about coming back home after staying away from the country for many years, some of them were chased out of this country because of the civil crisis. So what then do we do now? If they come to a country that seems to be lawless, that appears to be lawless, or that is believed to be lawless, if they come to a country that people will just walk away with impunity, so what exactly are they going to do? How are they going to cope in such an environment when they have, adapted new ways of living from different countries, the countries of law, countries where people respect law and things. So they may just have to come to their country and start practicing to adapt to the new lawless country. So if you see the call for the establishment of War Crimes Code is mounting, is rising, it's gaining momentum, there are a lot of people who think that if we just let this thing go this way, it's going to give us problems. And that's we believe Councillor Jerome Verdier is coming from this morning. So all of you are invited to join the conversation. Follow us live on Facebook, Sky Communications Liberia. That's our Facebook page. You can also follow us on YouTube, Sky FM and TV Liberia. That's our YouTube channel. You can also follow us there and drop your comments. Invite someone now on the Facebook. So right now it's just an introduction. That, like I said, the conversation is going to go for a long period, for an hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, by the way. So we are hoping during the course of the conversation to read out your comments. But better still, those of you who are there watching us, you can invite other people to join the conversation. We are making some efforts now to reach out to Councillor Jerome Verdier so that we can get him on, on the line while we, move on to other developments. Well, for the COVID-19, that's something we wake up to every morning, right? So I, from my observation, a few things I've observed critically, I see that I've seen for some extent that a lot of people who are not abiding by the rules and regulations set aside by the, health authorities, because this is health crisis time. Like I said earlier, you may not like the person speaking. You may not like the president in charge. You may not like other people who are giving you instructions to obey, but you have to obey the rules. There's a video, a colleague of mine shared with me of a man seen fighting an immigration and I think a DEA officer because he refused to put on, he had a mask in his hand. Imagine the guy had a mask in his hand, right? But he refused to put it on simply because he felt that he should not put it on. Another guy too, who also supported him, had his own mask in his hand, but could not put it on. So that brought us some tussle between the people. I listened to Mayor Jefferson Koji, that businesses who are not going to be abiding by the COVID-19 protocol will be fined $1,500 US, and ordinary citizens who are moving around in the city of Monrovia and not putting on nose mask, when you are caught, you'll be fined $1,000. Maybe if you don't, you may just be held by the police. Why do you want to allow yourself to go through all of that? Why do you want to allow yourself to experience these kind of, embarrassment in the street? The motorcyclist guy that brought me to town, he kept on looking for someone to put on a bike. I said to him, if you find someone, trust me, I'm going to get down. And between you and I, it's going to be a breach of contract. I'm going to get down. I'm not going to pay. I'm going to find another bag and get on it, because you're not a stranger to this country. I'm not too sure you're just coming back home. Even if you just came back, you must have certain protocols laid aside by the health authorities against the fight, regarding the fight against COVID-19. Now insisting you want to put somebody and I'll have to get down from your bike. He tried repeatedly, he couldn't find someone. So at least who came to town. But this is now, let's go to funeral parlors. Let's go to, places, the funeral parlors around town. We say, yes, 20 persons should attend a funeral service of their loved ones, and the service should be held right there at the funeral, parlor, wherever the remains, is deposited. But yes, 20 persons are counted and are allowed to enter the particular area, a conference place or whatever, chapel in that particular area, the funeral parlor, that is asked, where the people are going to have the service for their loved ones before taking the remains out finally. But even prior to the service, is the security or the government taking into consideration the pool of crowd before these funeral services while their programs are going on? If we are serious about the fight against this COVID-19, people need to wake up. A neighbor of mine contacted 4455, managed to speak with the people, spoke with one officer from the headquarters of the Liberia National Police. And later, officer referred my neighbor to the Zone 7 depot in Cardwell. Waited ever so long for the officers to come, because I told the person, man, I'm not discouraging you yet, but I doubt whether these people are going to come here. It's already 10 o'clock. So, and I said, okay, well, I'm not the one making a call. I'm just watching you. I'm going to stay out here and watch you and see whether these people are going to respond. Waited up to 12 a.m. There was no response from the police. What was going on basically was a wake keeping going on in the environment. And this particular neighbor of mine felt that, no, this thing is very important. I need to contact 445 out the police, because even though this person who died is our community resident, but we need to all fight against this COVID-19. The people that are coming in, the number is increasing, cars are trooping in, people are still coming. When by the time that this place gets crowded up, they're not going to be observing social distancing. Of course, right now there's no social distancing. There are some people who are not masked up and so on. So it's better we contact the police. And up to 12 o'clock, nobody showed up. That week went on fine. The next morning, people wake up, they went to their various destinations, and that's how it went on. So at this time now, if there's anyone in that environment who's affected with the COVID-19, trust me, that person may just spread it throughout that environment. So it is but a very important thing for all of us to look at, for all of us to highlight every time, for all of us to consider talking about, for all of us to consider sharing the message, for all of us to consider inviting our brothers and sisters to a conversation that is geared towards impacting them in so many ways, that's geared towards giving them education. So if someone is doing something out of the way, and then that person maybe is doing so ignorantly, you with the knowledge, by the way, those of you individuals in the community with the knowledge of this particular thing, and you are concerned about respecting government's protocol, it's very important you educate, you communicate these kind of informations with people in your environment. Because you may say, well, the people in the day, they don't want to respect the health protocol. I've been it. Let me go in my room, my family. In the day, your family are going to get out of the house. And they're certainly going to come in contact with some people within that same environment. The very thing you were avoiding, your people may just fall prey to this particular deadly pandemic that you try to avoid. So I'm just encouraging all of you to continue to follow the health protocols. We're going to take a break. Just to zero in quickly on the funeral services around town. I witnessed a ceremony over the weekend, at St. Moses. I'm told that there were about 25 dead bodies released or removed from St. Moses over the weekend. That's not really the issue, because what I stood there and watched closely, I saw that the police, the few handful of police officers that were there at the St. Moses area, tried. They did the best they could, because they were counting the number of people. Family members now will have to decide those who are those allowed to enter and in the chapel at that particular place to have the service quickly for a few minutes, and you'll be done with it and out of there. So but while the number was being counted, 20 persons counted, getting in and so on, the number of people outside were too many. That they were stuck up together, most especially when the rain started coming. They were stuck up together. Can we be more stringent? Can we be more draconian with this fight against coronavirus? Because it's all of us business. All right, we're going to take a break. To be right back. We're trying to do everything we can to get to our guest, Councillor Jerome Verdier, there in the USA. My name is Matthias Labini. You're listening to Straight from the Heart on Sky 107.1.
We are Project Liberia, Mama Liberia. Must all rise, stand together, fight Corona. Uncertainty, no security, everything is possible. It could be your mama, your papa, brother, and sister. Let's stand together to fight this deadly disease now. Walk on the wall we're living, for the uncertainty, no security, everything is possible. It could be your mother, your father, even your sister. Let's stand together to fight this deadly disease now. Asia to Europe,
Corona,
Europe to America,
Corona,
America to Africa.
Corona,
Take precaution.
Corona,
It could be a mama,
Corona,
brother, sister, or father.
Corona,
Let's stand together.
Corona,
Mama Liberia.
Corona.
God bless my life and the rest of the world.
We must arise. Let's stick together to fight Corona in my country. We must arise. Let's stand together to fight Corona.
Lord have mercy.
Amen. 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 Let's fight Corona.
Lord have mercy.
Amen. 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 Let's fight Corona.
Lord have mercy. Coronavirus spreads via droplets. When the person coughs or sneezes, the droplets land on surfaces and are picked up on the hands of others and spread further. People catch the virus when they touch their infected hands to their mouth, nose, or eyes. It follows that the single most important thing you can do to protect yourself is keep your hands clean by washing them frequently with soap and water or hand sanitizer. What is the incubation period of COVID-19? It is where that symptoms are showing up in people within 14 days of exposure to the virus. What are the symptoms of COVID-19? COVID-19 symptoms include cough, fever, shortness of breath. In rare cases, COVID-19 can lead to severe respiratory problem, kidney failure, or death. If you have a fever or any kind of respiratory difficulty, such as coughing and shortness of breath, call your doctor.
Coronavirus is real, but together we can fight it.
Asia to Europe,
Corona,
Europe to America,
Corona,
America to Africa.
Corona,
Take precaution.
Corona,
It could be a mama,
Corona,
brother, sister, or father.
Corona,
Let's stand together.
Corona,
Mama Liberia.
Corona. We must arise. Let's stick together to fight Corona in my country. We must arise. Let's stick together to fight Corona.
Corona is the lead.
Amen. 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 Let's fight Corona.
Corona.
Amen. 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 Let's fight Corona. We must arise. Let's stick together to fight Corona in my country. We must arise. Let's stick together to fight Corona.
Corona is the lead.
Amen. 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 Let's fight Corona.
Corona is the lead.
Amen. 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 Let's fight Corona.
Fellow Liberians, let's stand together and fight coronavirus. God bless Africa and the rest of the world. We are Project. We are Project. Liberia. Mama Liberia. Let's stand together. Fight.
Amen.
no uncertainty, no security. Everything is possible. It could be your mama, your papa, brother and sister. Let's stand together to fight this deadly disease now. Walk on the wall.
And that's right. Let's come together to fight this deadly disease now. What kind of war we live in is full of uncertainties. You wake up in the morning, you're thinking about taking care of your family. The next thing you hear is that there is a pandemic that is preventing you from even associating with family members. That is an uncertain, situation. And think about going to work to, come back home and feed your family. You hear that, well, there is a lockdown. A lockdown, in your country. So therefore, you need to do X, Y, Z thing to ensure that, to ensure that we all work together in giving Liberia, that safe, making a safe environment that we all want it to be. But while we are doing all we can to, get to our guest, Councillor Jerome Verdi, I'm just going to read you the editorial this morning of the Front Page Africa newspaper. And after that, we hear from you briefly. And you're just going to tell us what you make of how is the fight in your community? Because this is a report now. This is reporting directly from your community, right? How are people in your environment responding to the fight against COVID-19? Responding by that, I mean, like observing the basic rules, observing the preventive measures, washing of hands, homes with buckets before them, churches in your community. Do you sometimes maybe pass by and just spy through the door and see how many persons are in social distancing in the various churches? So yes, we're going to give you the opportunity shortly while we're still, getting in touch, trying to get in touch with Councillor Jerome Verdi. But Front Page Africa's editorial says this morning, we must not allow the negligence of the new cost U.S. That's cost U.S. our worst nightmare in this COVID-19 fight. It says the number of daily COVID-19 infections in Liberia isn't in any way declining, and this is troublesome. On July 1, the National Public Health Institute of Liberia, NPHI, announced 214 new confirmed cases in its daily update. 4 new deaths were also reported on July 1. On the 30th of June, NPHI reported 211 new cases, while on June 9, there were 103 new cases. The previous day, June 28, 106 new cases were recorded by NPHI. Statistics seen by Front Page Africa revealed that of the 67 weeks of response as of March 2020, this week accounts for the highest with 25% of deaths. 689 new cases were recorded between June 20 to 26. As of June 26, 2021, the percentage changes for cases from April 2021 has increased by 119% and 1,382% for May, and up to date in June. There were 47 cases in April 2021 that increased to 103 in May and has significantly increased to 1,526 in June 2021. From the statistics, comparing the current positivity peak with the increase of 28.5% in the third wave to the peaks in the previous 2 waves, the first 2 was 22.2% for week ending June 24, 2020, while the second wave was 11.5% for week ending November 14, 2020. The data further predicted that comparing the 3 waves, it would take up to 60 to 90 days to see appreciable progress bending the curve if the recommendations, including the wearing of masks, hand washing, social distancing, vaccination, testing, case investigation, contact tracing, and contact reporting are followed. Over the past few weeks, We have observed Liberians owning up to the fight through the wearing of masks and adhering to some health protocols. It is, however, disappointing that drinking spots remain and its patrons remain delinquent, something that has the propensity to roll back efforts in this fight. However, what is now even more disappointing to us is the alleged act by the Deputy Commissioner for Operations at the Liberia Immigration Service, Ms. Abigail N. Wise, who reportedly ignored COVID-19 protocol approved visas for several Turkish nationals, 3 of whom were later discovered positive of COVID-19. Let's not forget that to date, it is not established how the Delta variant of the virus entered Liberia. The indexed case had no recent travel history. Logically, the person may have come in contact with someone who had traveled recently. Now, the mixing up of these infected Turkish with the other staff at Beer Mountain, a Turkish-owned gold mining firm in Grand Cape Mount County, where they had come to work, has led to 25% of the company's staff being positive for COVID-19. Ms. Wise's failure to adhere to the COVID-19 protocol by issuing visas to the Turkish teaches us how one breach of protocol can massively affect an entire population. So, because she licensed them, she gave them travel permit. 25% of the company's staff, Beer Mountain staff, are now COVID-19 positive. Her individual action has now affected a number of people. Let's go further. This is why testing at the RIA and being vigilant on who enters the country and where travelers are coming from must not be taken lightly. Other countries have already taken stringent measures on flights that's leaving from Liberia, all in an effort to protect their citizens from the virus. We must not fail to realize that the rising number of cases and deaths being reported is simply due to negligence, and very soon our health system will collapse further from its fragile state. People in key role and the individuals playing negligence to the detriment of the population must be made to pay for it dearly. We cannot afford to slip into the worst form of this pandemic amid our suffocating economy and a health sector that is already in dire straits. Let's all fight this while we still have the chance. Else, very soon, we will all be helpless in this fight. And this is the editorial from the Front Page Africa newspaper this morning. Now, referencing Abigail, Miss Abigail Wise, the deputy at the Liberia Immigration Service, who was recently suspended by the president for administrative negligence, administrative reasons. So the Front Page Africa has gathered that this lady in question issued some Turkish nationals, travel license, travel documents, right? So they went to Beer Mountain, and they originally worked with Beer Mountain. And working at Beer Mountain, upon their arrival at Beer Mountain, they effected or made about 25% of the company's staff to be positive of COVID-19. Now, this is not a time where people stand before another person, someone stand before another person and say, do you know who I am? Well, you are who you are, and yes, your respect should be given to you, but you are nothing to COVID-19. You are just a prey and COVID-19 is a predator that can eat you up at any time. So they respond to your question because you refuse to honor, to live up to the COVID-19 protocols. You refuse to live up to those protocols set aside by the health authorities, and you're asking the person who's telling you, do you know who I am? The perfect answer for you, sir or madam, who's asking the question, is that you are a prey to COVID-19, and COVID-19 is a predator. But while you are a prey, you could also be a potential agent of COVID-19 to distribute the virus to other people. So while you're asking who you are, if you want to know who you are, go and sit down maybe at your house. And just if you get infested, you infect your entire family and just lock the fence up, you'll be quarantined in your house. Whoever survives, that's it. This is not a time for us to usually do this usual chest beating thing of, who I am and all of that. We need to work in ensuring that we get rid of it. Now, listen to these analysis. From a certain point, Abigail, by the way, we said, like I gave you just little explanation. So if you're in your community right now and you're watching things going on there, you're keeping quiet. One person's negligence could just lead to affecting a number of people in that particular community. Abigail Wiesett of the Immigration Service is an example now. So because she deliberately took an action to issue, passports or travel documents, right, to some Turkish nationals, thereby leading to affecting about 25% of Beer Mountains staff, which are mostly Turkish people there, right, and several other nationalities as well. Whereby 25% of the staff of Beer Mountain are now COVID-19 positive, according to this editorial from the Front Page Africa newspaper. So if this should be a collective fight, then what exactly are you waiting for? For you to join the fight in ensuring that you have your car tinted windshield, right? And you have people stuck up in there. At the back, you have 5 persons. Some are even overlapping. Some are sitting on each other's laps. And at the front, you put 2 persons. By you the driver, you the owner of the car, you're the one driving. So is it possible for you drivers, for you officers also to open the vehicles and look in them so that we can know who's carrying how many persons in their tinted windshield vehicle? Let's have a conversation with you briefly as we approach 8 o'clock. Maybe by that time we're going to get Councillor Jerome Verdier. It's actually from 7:30 is actually 2:30. Where he is now in the USA, 2:30 a.m. It's 7:30 here, and it's 2:30 a.m. on that side. So probably he stayed in bed, but we actually had a conversation. And we don't know what is going on with him now, but we hope to get to him at 8 o'clock to have a conversation with him regarding this. This is a topical issue in the country. While the president traveled to France, his return to Liberia, and everyone is expecting to hear what exactly is in that package. Just who read a press release, by the way, really issued by the executive mansion, and we outlined some of the things that the government said it was going to be benefiting from the government of France. Some of you disagreed. That, Matthias, we've heard a lot of things like that in this country. Yes, it's your right to disagree, and all of us as Liberians, those of us who are journalists, we are concerned about doing a follow-up on whether these things are actually going to come to pass. Are the testing kits here in the country? Now, call us on WhatsApp now. Call us on WhatsApp and IMO, or better still on Messenger. On Sky Liberia, you're going to be live on the program. But better still call us on 07777 07722212223. Let's have a conversation. Let's hear from this first person on the line. Good morning. All right. Wow. The line. Yeah, let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Atara, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you. This is Tama.
Mr. Tama, please go ahead.
Yeah, you're asking a question relating to how well we are doing in our community.
Yeah.
Even yesterday, I attended church yesterday. Our church, I think the chair was about 3 feet distant to one another. And I observed in the church yesterday, everybody had on their mask. Yeah. So 3 feet was distant from every one of us. Yeah, that's what I was there actually yesterday in the church. And secondly, in the community. For example, the community member coming to you, so that they stay about 10 feet away from you to discuss something with you. Yeah, that's what I was there in the community. They will stand 10 feet away to discuss. Maybe they want to pay something for you, they want to tell you, oh, money, or I want to find something for you for the event, So that was actually also, actually, some of our community are civilized and they didn't just see people coming to their house like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm very worried on, community like foster, people chamber one another, they are foster chamber together. So those are the community we really be worried on. Because for some of our community, the person is distant from one another, so that kind of difficult for some of them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tamba. It's a pleasure having you on this morning. Let's hear from another person. Call us on those numbers 0777-777-107, 0777-221-223 are the numbers you can call us on to participate on the program this morning. We are still endeavoring to reach out to our guest, Councillor Jerome Verdier, there from the US. Let's hear from this person too. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthias.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
Thank you for all of the talking points. David E. Harris.
Let's hear you, sir.
This morning.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Matthias, the negligence you spoke about or speak about, there was a thing negligence on the part of our airport authority and the health team there got into this. But I think all Liberians are involved in the fight against this pandemic. And I can see it all over in the community. People are observing social distancing and washing of hands. And most of the churches are observing the community. They put dress those chairs, I think 3 feet, 4 feet apart. So I think Liberians are involved in the fight against the pandemic. And I hope by the grace of the Almighty God will be. Thank you this morning.
Thank you, sir. Let's move on to this other person. Good morning. Good morning. All right, call us back on those numbers 0777-777-107, 0777-221-223. Just one information I want to share with you quickly. I don't know how many of you have followed, you've been following this situation with the Grand Cape Mount County election, right? Senatorial election. And the entire process now was between two individuals, Victor Waxing, the senator then, and Simeon Taylor. Let's hear from this other person. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Let's hear you.
Yeah, this is Sam Africano. Quinga from Tinsy number 9 precisely.
I say, sir.
Yeah, brother, thank you for the information being, provided to the public. But Liberian, we are people who very, very much, adamant when it comes to restrictions and the meaning of the law to be effective. Now you see other people with all my when you go, you tell them, some of them want to take it out of conflict. They don't want to put some measure in the place that will always prevent it, because this particular epidemic in our country.
It's a pandemic. This is a pandemic, not an epidemic.
Do you understand it? The epidemic that is affecting us, I think that we all have to be concerned to. And even for pertaining to a lady who is a law enforcing, person, somebody who the Liberian has tried to work, it's just a high level of corruption. That's the reason for which she did that act. I think they did it on the influence of corruption. It's not about consciousness. It's not about the love of the country. It's just because of the act of greediness. And then spoiling the government, say, oh, Mr. President, do this one. All of these are the people now that sort of said that people need to say, oh, yes, these are things that we're supposed to do. We should protect our country and our citizens. But because of the greed, the corruption, so that's the reason for which he gave, offense to the people then.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And by the way, I just want to inform all of you there, and maybe you two just tuning in, that we do not have a pandemic. We have an epidemic. We don't have an epidemic, right? We have a pandemic. Sorry about that. Let's hear from this other person. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthias. Okay, all my morning finished.
I tell you, I'm so sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Matthias. The name of me, Mohammed, passed away. Joining from the Lomitan community.
Mr. Pastor, please go ahead, sir.
First of all, before I come to the discussion on the COVID, I appreciate the center you led. Grand Cape Mount County, we have been on the center for almost 6 to 7 months. But thank God now they finally resolved the up and down. So I want to appreciate the center you led on our Simeon
Taylor.
Matthias, to the issue of this COVID, all of that need to be